Hello and welcome back to the Eurovoxx Podcast, the place where we'll be discussing all things Eurovision. Coming up today, we have two new songs since we last spoke in Czechia and Albania. And then to pad out a bit of this podcast, we're going to be discussing with my guest here some of our favourite national final songs so far in the 2024 season. Speaking of 2024, Happy New Year, everyone. This is our first episode of the podcast since the new year. Yes, I know we have been a while, but there's not much to talk about in the months of like December and January. So they will get more frequent. I am assuring you of that. But first, let us introduce our guest. He is new to the podcast, unlike our most recent members of the show. He is from the land of Lucy Jones in Wales. And actually, he overtook me as the newest member of Eurovoxx last year. It is Chris. How are you, Chris?
Hello. Hi, Harry. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. Cold, very cold at the moment.
Me both.
I'm wearing Winter is Coming. The Stark shirt from Game of Thrones is here.
Welcome to the UK.
Well, I think all around the world it's fairly cold.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not Australia. I think Shanacy and Justin, our Fox members,
Yeah.
they're doing all right at the moment,
good.
and George as well, over in Australia. To be fair,
Yeah.
I say that you overtook me as the newest member. We got like 4 or 5 new members after you. So your
There's been a few.
Your run as the newest member was quite short. It was
Yeah.
quite.
Yeah.
I had that for like over a year, and then until you came along.
That's impressive.
Oh, very impressive. I even got overtook as the youngest member of Vox as well with Josh. I was like, someone overtook
How
me.
old's Josh?
I think he's the same age as me, but like a couple months younger.
Ah.
So like, I'm not the baby anymore.
You've been dethroned.
Anything that will stop Andy calling me the baby of the group is absolutely. Thinking I'm a child is absolutely fine. That is, go for it. But before we start, let us go on to our 3 questions. We always ask the guests 3 questions. So, Chris, your first question: what is your favourite Eurovision moment in person?
In person. Whew. I think being in the arena in Liverpool during Carrier's Cha 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 and all that energy in the arena was it's unmatched. Like,
I can confirm.
Yeah, it was crazy, and that was during a jury final as well, not even the actual grand final. So
same.
Yeah.
I was. Oh wait, the final. I was at the jury semi-final or jury because it's.
I
it's not really
see.
jury,
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
unmatched.
that was one of them.
Fair enough. I mean, I remember I was in the Eurovision Village in the final.
Tongue twister.
Tongue. Not really, but thank you for making me think that. I suppose there's V's in there. But so I was in the Eurovision Village for the final, and no disrespect to all the other songs before then, because there are some fantastic songs, but the first 12 songs, we were all sitting down applauding. As soon as Cha 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 got on, right, everyone up, everyone get up there.
Yeah.
And then we literally stayed standing
absolutely.
throughout the rest of the show. It was like Carrier brought the party to life.
100%. Yeah.
Either that or that was when the alcohol kicked in and everyone was just like, let's dance now. It doesn't matter what the song is.
Probably one of the two. Yeah.
One of the two. Around song 13, yeah, that's about right. Were there ballads after that? Yeah, sure. Did that matter whether a boat was standing up? No. Some people tried to dance to Future Lover for some reason. That's
even Brunette herself on stage tried to dance to it.
Yeah. I'll be honest. Like those dance breaks are actually harder to dance to than like ballads, because at least with ballads you got the tempo style. It's like that is like a specific
I'd be gasping
dance.
for a breath if I tried to do that. I'd be like,
I tell you what, though, that was a fantastic staging. Though I loved Armenia this year.
It was incredible.
Last
Armenia
year.
normally do bring amazing stagings to Eurovision.
They do. Can't wait to see what they're going to do this year. But that is for another episode of the podcast, and probably not anytime soon. Usually Armenia. But the second question, Chris, what was? I think you've answered it here, maybe. But what was your favorite Eurovision entry from 2023?
My favorite. Now you're making me think. It would have to be. Why have I forgot my entries?
Do you not have the list already in your head?
Cut this bit out. My favourite. No, I've got the list in my head. I'm just trying to think if it is what I want it to be. Yeah, I'll be basic. My favourite entry from 2023 has to be Tattoo LOREEN.
Tattoo LOREEN. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Carrier Cha Cha Cha. Is that second, potentially?
second, because I just love LOREEN as a person.
That's
I just think her energy that she brings to every single interview is just calming.
We'll probably get her a lot this year as well. We'll get her as an interval act in MALMÖ. We'll get her an interval act in Eurovision. We'll get her an all sorts.
Get her on the pod.
Mate, you really think that if Eurovoxx were able to get LOREEN, that she would go to the pod and not straight into Andy's DMs or anything like that? You don't think Andy would be right on that interview?
If LOREEN would be in the pod, Andy would be on the pod.
He would replace me as host if LOREEN was on the podcast. You really think I'm doing that one? Absolutely. I love your optimism, but right. And then for the final question, it is our guest question. We always ask the previous guest of the show to submit a question. So the last guest on the podcast was all the way back in early December was Yana. I mean, Yana's been to like 5 different countries in that time. I'm not even joking. She has genuinely been to and now, Chris, you vaguely know Yana from her stories that she put on the Vox chat around Christmas. She's quite an insane person when it comes to stuff that she does in a lovely way.
Insanely intelligent as well.
Insanely intelligent and she's crazy, she's party. Let's put it that way. She won't mind me saying that. She's amazing. But her question, I think, reflects that she'd like to know, Chris, what is your wildest Eurovision memory?
Well, my wildest. Does it have to be in person at Eurovision?
No, it can be whatever. It can be whatever.
My
it's going to be already good from the laugh, but go on.
My craziest year, just to make it PG. My craziest year to make it my favourite Eurovision moment was back in 2021. We'd had a year without Eurovision. So the house I lived in at the time, I invited my sister and her boyfriend we'll have a Eurovision party for 2021. And we played a drinking game we made a list. So it was like, you got to do a shot or take a drink every time. Graham Norton makes a sassy comment.
I'd stop there. That's enough.
Every time there's a costume change, anytime someone's voice breaks or something during a song. We were absolutely hammered on apple sours, and let's just say it wasn't a very nice night there and in.
It probably made the voting
most of the night on the toilet, basically.
Oh dearie me! I'd imagine it probably made the voting sequence a bit easier to digest, unless you had drink for every point UK got.
Well, exactly.
You'd be fine then. You'd be fine. I mean, you say
that's
that it's
probably my craziest moment.
I remember watching 2021. I was by myself because I think my family were out. But I remember messaging my mate. It was like, okay, I know this because I remember messaging Connor, my good friend from Eurovision, obviously Irish, friend of the show. And I remember messaging him saying, because obviously we've sucked in years, but Ireland are giving us points. So I messaged him saying, look, I know our staging is awful, but, can you give us something? And he went, not sure.
Oh, no.
And then they didn't give us televotes this year either. They gave, I think we were 11th in the Irish televote. I was like, Ireland, listen, I know, listen here, Ireland. I know you don't qualify, so we can't give you points. I know you don't qualify, so we can't give you points if we're not in that semi-final. But you still have a duty, okay? You still have a duty to give us points in the final, all right? We gave 22, the song that you sent in 2019, 3 points. Just for that alone, you can give us some points, okay?
Yeah.
We saved that from 0.
I agree completely.
That's the rule. It doesn't matter if you don't make it. You still got to give us points.
We are friends.
Whether
you like to admit to it or not.
I was going to say, let's not get into that debate. if Ireland were our friends
for another pod.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, we're going to be talking about Ireland next pod based on the entry reveals. That'll be interesting. So now we come on to discussing some more Eurovision 2024 entries since the Masterful France was announced. We've had 2 more. First, we will head over to Czechia, who had their national final pretty much the day that we recorded the last episode. So yeah, it has been that long since they revealed their act. But they have revealed that Aiko will be representing them with the song Pedestal.
On a pedestal, I will be loving me more.
So that was Aiko with the song Pedestal. Aiko is quite an international artist, actually. She was born in Moscow, Russia, but then quickly moved to Karlovy Vary in Czechia. I'm sure I butchered that. I apologize. And now she actually currently lives in Brighton in the UK. So, Chris, this didn't actually end up winning the Czech side of the vote, which was worth 30%, but this dominated the online vote, 70%, landslided over acts like Ellie, who I believe came in second. What are your thoughts on Pedestal? Because Czechia are on a good run at the moment. They came 10th last year, qualified the year before. Does this continue that run, or, somewhere in the middle?
I don't know. Like, I think for all of the artists on the national final ESCZ, it was, I think they all had sound issues in that Roxy Club. I don't think any of the artists necessarily had like a standout performance.
No.
But they all did what they could. But anyway, based on Pedestal, it was one of the more unique songs, I think, amongst the bunch. And I think it stood out in that respect. But I was quite surprised because a lot of like the attention was on Midi and Ellie. So I think, I'm surprised that the overall vote went for this song, because it's not necessarily something we'd hear at Eurovision either. I think we don't get a lot of female rock songs at Eurovision typically. So whether it's going to work in their favour or not, I'm not sure. At the moment, I'm in the mind that it's not, sadly. But hey, they could have some killer staging and it could change it. We'll have to see.
Jumping the gun there with how you think it will do, Chris, but that's neither here. That's absolutely fine.
Sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. It's very. So first of all, side note, I've been calling that band My Die for the longest time. I've clearly been getting that wrong.
Maybe I've got it wrong. Who knows?
Who knows? But it's very Olivia Rodrigo, this style of song, Pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it reminds me a lot of Good For You, which I'm sure is not a new concept, this revolutionary idea that it's similar to Olivia Rodrigo. That being said, when it comes to hype, I think this actually did have a little bit of hype going into the contest. This was the only song beforehand that had a music video. I think it was released before the announcement of which songs were going to be revealed. So she clearly has a fan base, Aiko, which maybe the other 6 acts didn't necessarily have, at least internationally. So I can see from that aspect why it won. Taking into account the staging itself, and especially with Czechia, we've got to always take stuff with a pinch of salt, because their staging 99% of the time gets upgraded from what you see in the national final to what's at Eurovision, especially with Vesna and We Are Domi in the last couple of years.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
But I feel like with this, it's going to be one of those songs, and I feel bad saying this, if you put this in the semi-final lineup, which we only know 3 songs, so take with a pinch of salt, but if you put this in the semi-final lineup, I feel I would very quickly forget this. I would be like, oh, okay, it's Czechia, fine.
Yeah, agreed.
This screams mid-running order, doesn't it? It's like, probably put it somewhere like 6, or I don't know, or like 11.
Yeah, well, that's it. I think that's the annoying thing is, like, again, we haven't had that many songs come out, but I feel like this is going to be quite a big year for other countries from what we've heard so far.
Artist-wise.
The artists they're picking.
Yeah.
So I just think it's going to be a very high impact year for a lot of countries, but wherever you put Czechia in the running order, I don't know where it's going to stand out.
I'll be honest, could it even be a slot 2?
Well, yeah.
They haven't been there in a while as well, so you got to consider that factor in. No, I look like a genius now if they actually get put slot 2 in their first half. We don't even know the halves. That's the thing. We don't even know the halves. But I when it comes to staging, though, in particular, this does need to massively improve. This was, in my opinion,
be elevated to the gods. This
elevated to the gods. No, it's absolutely fine. I mean, my problem is, even if you take the songs out of it, this was one of the weaker stagings in the national final. Her breath control needs massively improving to, improve the vocals, which again over time can happen. Vesna and Buia Domi are examples. You can improve vocal quality.
I think it's very early on as well. Like, even like at pre-parties, you get some artists that get slacked because of their vocals, and then they come to Eurovision and it's amazing. So
I never take vocals at pre-parties massively seriously unless they're truly awful. In that case, bit of a question mark. But at the end of the day, for the pre-parties, they're going for more, I think, a concert mentality. At the end of the day, they're pandering to the crowd and the audience. They're not trying to focus on like what works well in
Exactly.
a Eurovision stage. So
Yeah.
that can vary, and with experience as well in pre-parties. I wouldn't do too many. I would prioritize a little bit of time to focus on the vocals outside of it. But
100%.
she's doing Amsterdam from at the moment. I don't know if she's going to end up doing more. She'll probably end up doing maybe one or two more.
Yeah.
But I prioritize that, and also get a different outfit. For the love of God, that outfit was awful. Do not have that outfit on stage.
No.
Yeah, it didn't look good.
Yeah.
Didn't look good.
No.
I
just
think
it's a song that like really pops as well, and it's Eurovision. Don't just wear black, wear glitter. Or something,
what this staging will need, and we'll come on to how we think it does maybe in more detail in a sec. But what the staging needs is something that clearly tells the story better. Because it's important. It's an impactful message, an impactful story. That staging did not do that at all. And you could argue that maybe apart from Red Flag Parade, none of the stagings really did that at the Czech national final. Told the message very well.
Yeah,
but that is certainly an element that needs to be improved. You need to be able to tell the story of the song rather than just trying to make it a pop rock concert, which I think is the vibes they were sort of going for. You need to expand on that.
Yeah, just listening on that as well. Like the first time I heard the song, like when she got to that chorus and she does the shouting part, I was concentrated more on the fact that she was shouting more than what the song was about. It was only after the song. After the performance, that was like, oh, actually, this song's got quite a bit to it, and the lyrics are actually quite meaningful. So yeah, completely agree with you on that one. They need to focus on the staging a little bit more.
They do need to. So taking all that into account, obviously, massive unknown in these early editions. Czechia last 2 years have qualified for the final, and to be honest, they're on a decent run. I think they've qualified 4 of the last 5 years. How do you think this would qualify? And if you think it would qualify, do you think it would? Where do you think it would finish in the final, or like expand? Would it qualify? Yes or no? And then to share, yes.
So what we just discussed about the staging, if they can elevate the stage and make it more impactful on the eye, as well as Aiko's like breath control, and as long as she can sing the song so that it is understandable for people watching the Eurovision semi-final for the first time, because we've not even delved in that. Like especially in the UK, most people who watch Eurovision, they'll just be watching it for that night only.
95% of people will be watching for the first time.
Exactly. But yeah, if they can do that, it could be borderline qualifier. That's my feeling at the moment. But right now, just going off the national final performance, I'm not sure. But I want to be proved wrong. I like that's the thing I love the most, is when you get like a representative of a country and you can't see why it's representing them, and then they work so hard for the actual Eurovision, and it can be something amazing. Like there's so many different examples, but I hope this is definitely one of them that can qualify for sure. I'd love to see Czechia win as well. But like,
yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll have to see.
We will have to see. I think. It's borderline at best for me. Although I question whether the song audibly has enough going for it. It doesn't. I don't think it stands out personally. Would stand out in a field, regardless of staging. They'd have to do something ridiculous out of the box for staging, I think, for it to make it stand out. I'm more leaning towards no personally at the moment. But at the end of the day, if all the rest of the songs that we get are rubbish, then this has a perfectly good chance.
Yeah,
we do not know. But at the moment, what we like to do at the end of each country is say what half they're in, what semi-final they're in. We'll be able to do that from the next episode of the podcast, because that's coming out after the half allocation draw, I think. Maybe the one after. I don't know. Within the next couple of episodes. But for Czechia at the moment, we do not know. It's in an unknown semi-final. And but that is our thoughts on Aiko Pedestal. So now we come on to our second song of this evening, and we go to Albania. Of course, Festivali de Këngës happened over December, like it always does. And the winner of the public vote after their new system came in and representing Albania is Besa with Semran Zendor. So that was Besa with Semran Semdor, Albania's representative for Eurovision 2024 in Malmö. Besa is from Fier, Albania, and while she didn't win Festivale de Këngës, the actual contest itself, their new system that they've had the last couple of years, she won the online vote to secure a place at Eurovision. That is how they've been deciding it the last couple of years. Like Albina and Fanmi de Kelmeldi. I probably butchered that. I apologize. Didn't win the whole Festivale de Këngës, but it won the online vote. So that same thing happened again this year. So, Chris, Albania, let's say, have their own unique style, which they often stick to when it comes to the contest. I think it's safe to say. What are your thoughts on this song in particular?
I like it. I think it's good. Like you just said, I think it's quite typical Albania. They love their female vocalists.
The last time they didn't send a main female vocalist, 2018.
Wow. Well, there you go. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think there's a reason for that though, is because they're so talented.
They do have some good vocalists. Yeah.
Yeah, like incredible. Especially Besa herself. I think she's amazing. But I think, I think I shared the same opinion with a lot of people that this song could definitely do with a revamp. And we know that we're getting that now from one of Besa's recent posts. So, I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out.
Yeah, I mean, we should have mentioned actually as well. Apparently, Ica will have a revamp of Czechia's entry as well. So that'll be interesting. So we can't.
Hey, could be eating our words then.
It's happened. I say enough opinions on Eurovision for that to have happened many times. I'm used to it. Mate. I never pretend to be a genius when it comes to Eurovision. But with Albania, I got 9 out of 10 in both semi-finals. I like to think I'm good at that. But I remember with Albania, so I'll be honest, unpopular opinion, especially amongst the fandom, I didn't like Albania the last 2 years. I wasn't a fan of Albania last year, and as much as she's loved by the fandom, I did not like Ronela Hajati's Secret from the year before. Sorry, do not come at me on Twitter, mainly because
was that the song or the performance? Was that before Eurovision or
both? Okay. I didn't like either.
Interesting.
I didn't get the song, and the performance was just her. Oh, I didn't get the song because she didn't really say words. She just went, hey, what, hey. She barely.
And I love the song, but I thought the performance was just trash. So
well, you can't say that because Ronella will come for you on Twitter. You can't criticize her.
That's
another issue. I'm sure Ronella won't listen to this. But onto this year, I do enjoy this as well. I will say, I'm not a massive fan of the rap in the middle. I think the momentum of the song, halts there. But everything either side, I find typical Albanian ballads, and I enjoy it.
But would it be forgetful if it didn't have that bit in the middle? Because I feel like that's why she's done it.
I get
make
that.
It a little bit more original, but
my argument to that would be original and good aren't the same thing.
Okay.
So I completely understand it does make it a bit more original and different to what Albania usually send, but in that case, make something that's because also I think the issue is if maybe the instrumental was still powerful in that part, I would like it a bit more. But the instrumental sort of dies out there, and it's just sort of rap spoken words rather than like a dramatic.
It did sound quite demo-y, didn't it?
Yeah, that's the issue, and maybe that can be fixed. But I think with Albania. Yeah, this is a solid improvement. I enjoy this more. Will this be on my playlist? Probably not, unless the revamp's incredible. In that case, it will be. I can see this probably being late teens, early 20s in my ranking. And that's assuming, it's a standard good year.
Yeah.
But I think when it comes to chances, so Albania have qualified most of the time the last few years. They failed in 2022, but most of the time they do make it into the final. How do you see this one faring, Chris?
I think with a revamp, yes, it will be in the final. Only saying that because I didn't think that Albina and the family would make it to the final last year.
No,
and that kind of was one of my surprise qualifiers. So with feeling better with this one before even we've got the revamp, Well, I mean, with some songs, we get a revamp and we're like, oh god, it's worse. But
Or there's just nothing; it just stays the same.
yeah, exactly. They've added an instrument or a harp in there.
I do think people need to remember, like, if you're not a massive fan of the song before the revamp, you're probably not going to be a massive fan of the song after. Like, they aren't going to completely change the song. It's just adding some things to oomph it up. In theory, I think
I really hope they keep the moves in there. That was my favourite bit.
Keep it in Albanian. That's the main request I have.
Exactly.
You do need to keep it in Albanian. I think
100%.
personally, Albania are all. No disrespect to Albania, but they are the most ultimate borderline country in Eurovision. I feel you are never certain on their qualification. I don't think. And by the way, spoiler.
Yeah.
I think with spoiler also with Albania. Not spoiler, but side note, Albania was my reason semi-final 2 predictions weren't correct last year. I think I had Georgia in instead of them. Otherwise, I would have been spot on. But yeah, that adds up. But I think, I feel more confident about this one than the last 2 years. Revamp can certainly help it out. And I sort of think that, no disrespect to them in Switzerland, but last few years they've been borderline, and the last few years they've been saved by Sasha Jean-Baptiste. I think that...
yeah, okay. That's a good observation.
If Sasha is there again, I think this can easily be improved enough and, memorable enough on stage to... qualify. I can't see doing much in the final. 17th at best would be my prediction. But, Albania do have that diaspora to do well with the semi-final jury, with the televote only semi-finals, and then also the televote in the final. Final question on this. Keep the dress, yes or no?
No.
No. Oh, I think you can upgrade on that dress, to be fair.
Same vibe. But
same vibe, yeah. It's not Ico bad. It's it's a solid enough dress, but I think you can improve on it. I think you can improve on it.
Maybe less Statue of Liberty, more.
It did like the crown and the maybe. I'll be honest, maybe even just lose the crown. The dress by itself is fine.
Absolutely, no. I thought she looked great overall. But I think I always like to see a different outfit from the national finals too.
A thought that's just come to my head. Could you have a contemporary dancer on stage? This feels like you could.
You could have 2.
You could have... Why not have 5? Max out the numbers you can have.
Hey, just don't have any more because you'll get disqualified.
Exactly.
No, I think again we've said this about Czechia, but I can't tell you how much I want a new country winning in MALMÖ this year. I just want a new. No disrespect to any of the other countries, Sweden, who've hosted a lot of times, but I just think there's nothing more exciting than when an unexpected result comes up, and I think we might get that this year because with LOREEN being so predictable, or like a Scandinavian country, it was kind of guaranteed that it was going to happen last year.
Yeah,
I think that's in itself is going to make this year a bit more interesting. But we will see. We'll have to see.
Just to clarify, when you say a new country, you don't mean country that's never won before, because obviously if the UK wins, we haven't won in a while. We can win. That's
an exception.
other than the UK,
mate. If Ireland won, that'd be unreal. But
let's just get them in the final first, and then they can focus on winning.
Absolutely. Sorry, veering off a bit there.
Natural. But we weren't talking about Ireland. We're talking about Albania, and like Czechia, Albania in an unknown semi-final. So we're not sure what the circumstances are with half and semi-final, but we will see. That is our thoughts on their entry.
And now it's time for...
Okay, we gotta go.
30 seconds.
So now we come on to OK, Gotta Go 30 seconds, as always inspired by our golden boy from 2015. So for those who are new to the show, or for Chris, our guest himself, I have a list of the last 15 years of Eurovision, so 2009 onwards, in a random order. Chris, you will have to pick a number between 1 and 15, and then you will get 30 seconds to name as many entries from that year. You have to give me the song title for it to count. Obviously, the country would be a little bit easy, but you do not have to give me the artist. You get a few lifelines here. So the first one, year restart. If at any point you are stuck on your year, you can give me another number immediately, and then we will carry on with that year. winner check. If at any point you want to get the juices flowing in your brain and try and figure out, get some memories for, you can use your winner check and then ask me who the winner was. I will give you the country. I won't give you the artist or the song. That's cheating. And then the final one is a variant on year restart, because I appreciate some of the guests I have on the show are more have knowledge in recent years. So, Chris, if you want to use the variant recency bias, just say the phrase recency bias, then give me a number between 1 and 5, and I will give you a year from the last 5 years rather than 15, so 2019 onwards. The only downside to this variant is all your points after said recency bias will be halved. So 0.5, 1, 1.5. So we haven't had decimals yet, but it could happen, guys. It could happen. Finally, I say finally, there is a bonus point option as well. You can name these in any order you like, if you want, Chris. However, if you want to earn some bonus points, if you can name me at least the first 5 songs or the top 5 from 1 to 5, your points will be doubled. So, for example, if you gave me numbers 1 to 7 in order, then that would be worth 14 points. However, at that point after that, you can, whenever you feel like, go into random order. So you go 1, 7, and then like 31. That will be worth 15 points because you get the doubled and then 1 extra point.
Got it.
You can only use this for 1 year. So you can't do this for 1 year, then do your year restart and then carry on. That's a bit unfair. And then with that bonus point option, if you do get 2020, I'm sorry, you can't do that. You can use your year restart. You can use your year restart and then try a different year, but you can't do it for 2020.
Yeah.
So the only other 2 rules that you need to know is your time will start when you hear the year, and your time will end when you hear the following.
Okay, hit the end.
Clear enough?
Very clear.
Very clear. Before we get on to your attempt, Chris, let's have a look at the current leaderboard and see who you are up against. So last year, for those who are not aware, to be fair, Chris didn't have a go at the original variant of this game show. But for those who aren't aware, last year when the variant with countries did not go so well, half the people were rubbish at it. This year, the scores are a bit better. So currently out in front, in 3rd place with 5 points, it is Jess. In 2nd place with 7, it is Twan. And in 1st place currently with 12, it is Yana. So some high points here. So 12 to beat.
No pressure.
To get 1st place. 5 to beat to avoid last. That's the mark. How do you think you're going to get on with this, Chris?
Oh, mate. We'll see. I like
That's
the pretty good, but
that's the vibe
We'll
everyone
see.
has going into this show. It's why it's my favorite segment. So, Chris, can you give me a number between 1 and 15?
12.
12. Okay, 12. I'm going to get that list up for you now. So, Chris, number 12, you will have 30 seconds to name as many entries from 2011. Go.
Running Scared.
Yep.
Like Taken Like a Stranger.
Yep.
Rockefeller Street. What About My Life? Oh no, What About My Dreams?
Yep.
Okay,
I
hit the end.
Regretfully, you were just out of time there, Chris.
I've done all the British people's shame there for not just
I was going to say, we did all right that year.
the pressure. My brain just went to mush.
I will say, especially the bonus point option, I think that was one of the hardest to get your bonus point for.
Yeah. Man.
The top 5 that year were Running Scared, Madness of Love for Italy, Popular for Sweden,
Yeah.
Angel for Ukraine, and New Tomorrow for Denmark. I will say I will be generous. You said Taken Like a Stranger. It's Taken by a Stranger. I will give you the point. That's close enough. That's close enough. I will be nice there. I will be nice. It's not. I wouldn't have given you what about. I wouldn't have given you What About My Life for Hungary.
What about my life? What about my life?
That's the only one I wouldn't have given you that one. So thankfully you corrected that. So, Chris, I do regret to inform you that you only scored 4 points in that, which does put you in last place in the
Great.
leaderboards.
Great. Oh, tough year. Tough year.
Jess is listening. 2011. I'm amazed you did not
was
use
only
year
12.
restart. I'm amazed you didn't use year restart because
I
that
know.
2011 is a very hard year to remember. I will
Oh,
say.
I
I'd say it's up.
cheered for it, but hey.
You did try and go for it. You gotta love a trier. I will say you gotta love a trier. I think that in 2009 are probably the hardest years to do.
Yeah. Sure.
2010, you've got some iconic ones in there, but yeah.
Jess
Jess is now celebrating very much so because she's no longer last at the leaderboard.
You're welcome, Jess.
You are welcome, Jess. You have survived. But that concludes another edition of OK, Gotta Go 30 Seconds. So now we come on to a segment where we're going to discuss some of the national final songs from this year, because January I always like to think is the month where we're going to get all the national final songs. You get a national final song. You get a national final song. Everyone gets a national, unless you're Sweden. In that case, you don't get the national final songs. You've got to wait. Patience, I say, and Italy. Anyway, most of the national finals have revealed their songs, and it's always exciting, I think, around this period because you get a vibe for what countries are going to send. It's always good fun. So what I asked Chris, and I've done this myself, is we have both picked 3 songs from 3 different countries and not overlap. So 6 songs from 6 different countries total. And we're going to say why we love them. These are our 3 favorites so far from the year. And I'll be honest, I don't know about you, Chris. It was hardly leaving out some of these other national finals.
Yeah. 100%. What are typically strong national finals? I feel like we've got some different ones this time.
Well, I'm going to say now, spoiler for all fans, neither of us have Norway in one of our songs. MGP usually strong. It's not bad this year, though I do think it is weaker. And I'm going to give an honourable mention to Luxembourg. We will discuss them in more detail. But I feel like both of us, Crick with Drowning in the Rain was our 4th. Like, we just missed out. Like, very close to putting it in. For
it was tough to come up with them, though. I'll give them that.
I had to go for 2. I had 2 in particular, and then one I was like, I've sort of got to put this national final in, and I do love this song. But Chris, do you want to start us off? Any of your 3 favorites in any order?
Sure.
What is your first song and country that you are going to discuss?
Okay, so one of the songs that I've chosen is one I've listened to pretty recently, and it's grown on me intensely in the last 24 hours. I think it's an absolute bop, and it is from Lithuania. So it is Sylvester Belt with the song Luktelk. And the reason this is it's one of my top 3 is because the first time I've listened to it is a stage version, so a live performance, and then I've listened to the actual song itself. I just thought the stage show was brilliant. I thought the whole staging, the LEDs, the dancers, Sylvester Belt himself, he can sing, full stop. I just love the song. I'm a bot boy, certified bot boy. I love the dance music. So yeah, I just love where like the chorus and the beat just like hits you, really grabs your attention, and yeah, that's why it's one of my top 3.
In your top 3, this is one that's definitely been getting hype in the last couple days. Is it me, or does Sylvester Belt seem like a name that's too old for him? Like, it feels like that should be like anyone
I'd
called
love
Sylvester.
to know where that's come from.
Anyone called like Sylvester, it should be like at least like 50. But this is a fascinating entry, I find. Well, I remember watching this the other day, and I was like, this is very strange, but I'm enjoying it. It's not. It's a bop, but it's not typical. You wouldn't associate this with Eurovision necessarily, but I could see.
I think it's a good thing in this instance, though.
Very much so. It's like a Sentimente from a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The staging as well. They've got a clear identity. They've got, especially with the lighting. Love the lighting here.
Absolutely.
I really like the song. Don't love it. It's not my playlist, but I could definitely see why people enjoy this.
Mhm.
So what's going to be interesting here is with this one, with all these national finals that we're going to be discussing in all the countries, I'd like to ask for like a prediction on the winner. It's quite hard to do that with Lithuania because we only got like a third of the songs, and I would argue the favourites are yet to reveal their songs in the Roop and Monica Mariah.
Mhm.
So, do you feel like when it's all said and done, I know this one's going to be the hardest because it's hypothetical. Do you
Sure.
think Looktelf could win, or would you say that the Roop would still be the favourites?
Again, it depends what the Roop come with, but I would be so happy if this won. I think that don't get me wrong, the monikers of Lithuania have served
They're
their
quite good.
time.
Monikers are quite good.
They
Quite
are.
good.
But I think this would be like in a short version. I think this would be something really fresh and new for Lithuania. And again, Lithuania is one of those countries that I would jump for joy if they won Eurovision. And so I think maybe it's time for something different for Lithuania to send to kind of like surprise the rest of Europe and be like, oh, they're here to win. So yeah, I would
Possibly.
love to see Sylvester Belt represent Lithuania. But like you said, we've got some powerful
We've got the
artists
Roop.
coming.
We've
So
got them.
yeah,
I feel like the Roop would have to send something bad for him not to be them. That would
and I
be
don't
my
think
sort
they'd
of
even
thing.
be in the national final if they didn't have something strong. So
No, and
yeah.
I will say I've got Lithuania in like a sweepstake with a few mates. I've got them and another country that we will talk about later. So I'm hoping they send something good. That being said, for my chances of winning the sweepstake, I think the Roop have a better chance as long as they send a good song. I
Agreed.
would be more than happy with Looked Out. This could be another scenario where a couple of years ago in 2021, Jabrozzi sent a great song. Where do you want to go?
Mm.
Amazing
Mhm.
entry. Any other year that wins, and sadly it was the year that the Roop were pretty much guaranteed to win with Discotheque. So
Mhm.
I think it could be another scenario like that. We will see.
Could
But
be.
I'm definitely not ruling out a surprise win for this. So on to
Mhm.
my first country, and anyone that knows my taste and knows my love for this artist, especially last year, will know I had to put this one in. So my first song comes from Estonia, and it is Ollie with My Friend. So with Ollie, I feel like I mean, I love Venom. Venom was my favorite song
Mhm.
entirety of last year, narrowly beating Ulrika. Honestly, it was very close between those two. I love rock, and this is right up my street. Anthemic,
Yeah.
meaningful as well. This has got a really powerful meaning. This song,
Mhm.
and first time I heard it, I was like, yeah, win, love it, fantastic.
Yeah.
Ollie,
Yeah.
Ollie, just keep going, keep going until you win. Like
Mhm.
Alika was fantastic last year, but this is your year, Ollie. You have to do it.
Mm.
Yeah, I think it's. There's not what it's hard to express in words how enjoyable it is. It's just typical rock, powerful rock. Love Ollie's voice. It's all fantastic. I will say
Yeah.
this one could slightly age badly, and the only reason I say that is because for context, and people might be asking, depending on when this is out, why we haven't talked about Slovenia. We are recording this on the 18th. If this goes out after Slovenia's entry, that is why. So we will cover Slovenia in the next episode. But also on the 20th is Estilau, the first the semi-final. I'd like to think Ollie's through to the final, but I thought I'd add that caveat
Just in
in
case
case
something happens.
in case my love for that song already backfires and it's not in the final. So what are your thoughts on this song, and who would be your prediction for winning SD Lau?
Wow, yeah. So I completely agree with you with Ollie there. I think he's a really, really strong entry. And it's interesting to hear your opinion as a rock fan compared to me, who isn't maybe rock isn't my favorite genre, but I love it in Eurovision.
Yeah,
And definitely from hearing this song, I could see it on the Eurovision stage for sure. And I think that, yeah, there's definitely a big rock following in Eurovision as well amongst the fandom. Once again, I think this would be another different thing for Estonia to send. I think this is one of the most, again, I haven't followed an awful lot of the national finals in previous years. This is the biggest one that I've followed, but from what I've read and seen, this is one of the more exciting years for SD Lowell in terms of the diversity of songs that they're sending. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think this is one of the strong ones. I again, with the kind of music I like, I really like Cecilia and FOMO.
Love that one as well. Love that one as well. Yeah.
But again, I think with we can say this until the cows go home, but it's really going to be about the stage show, isn't it? I think all of the songs that we've heard for SD Lowell, it's been radio edits. So depending on who catches our eye on the stage on the night, could sway it. But I agree with you. I think Ollie's got the edge at the moment.
Well, to be honest, annoyingly, I would love him to win. Want him to win.
Mhm.
Want to speak to him at pre-parties. Want to do all that stuff. I want to see him live at MALMÖ. Whatever. The problem is, I feel like the reason it lost last time was because Alika is more famous in Estonia. I think it's got a similar issue. I think it's got a similar issue this year with 5 minutes. I've butchered that. I'm sure.
Really?
They are massively popular in Estonia, and they've got a great song. I love their song. To be fair,
it's crazy. Isn't that
it is crazy. It is out there.
Pie.
But I feel like it's theirs to lose at the moment, and I'm annoyed because Ollie's probably going to come second for the second year in a row, and I'm going to be really annoyed and gutted. Just keep coming, Ollie. Ollie, if you don't win this year, just keep coming. Keep coming back.
Time lucky for him.
Just wait until there's not a popular artist, and then keep going. But yeah, they're my thoughts on that. That's who I think will win. As much as I love that song and will not hate 5 minutes winning at all, I'd love to be proven wrong and Ollie to win.
Yeah.
But we will see. So, Chris, what is your second country and song that you would like to discuss as your favourite?
My second song is, again, had a lot of hype recently, and I wasn't really sure what a lot of the hype was about, but then I gave it a listen myself, and I understood. It is Baby Lasagna with Rim Tim Taggy Dim.
There's no going back. My presence makes it black. Yeah, there's no going back.
Of Croatia and Dora 2024. I don't know where to start with this song. It brings in multiple different genres. It catches your attention as soon as it starts. And even without even seeing a stage show for Baby Lasagna, you know that the staging is going to be crazy and out there. And I think, again, I know people have got different opinions about following a trend after a certain winner or runner-up. You know, the following year for a lot of national finals go with that. But so that's the kind of sound that I heard from this. But without that, I even love the song. And it like in the verses, it sounds like it brings like kind of like dance electronic elements in there, and then the actual chorus sounds like a rock anthem. And it's memorable. It's one of the most memorable tunes that I can remember at this national final sequence so far. But yeah, I want to know, do you share the same feelings as me? Do you like it?
I've got a little story about this one. So one of the other acts in Dora is Let Free this year. So obviously returning from 2023.
Yeah.
Those who know or just anything, listen to me at any point in Vox, know I hate Let Free. Hated Mama Skur, and this will be no surprise I hate the song this year, which I can't even remember the song. Babatunga or something like that.
Babaroga?
Babaroga, yeah. So, I hate both. So I'm obviously of the opinion I do not want them to win again.
Yeah, they're an acquired taste, aren't they?
They're an acquired taste, and also I've got Croatia's my other country in the sweepstakes, so I do not want to have to support Let Free desperately. So I remember I listened to all the radio songs while at work, just working from home. I thought it's something to do, and I can listen to the songs. Babaruga was the first one I heard, actually, and I was just like, gee, flipping heck. But I was speaking to Sanja at the same time, who was obviously listening to them. Sanja are very from Vox, a Croatian member, and I was listening to them. And I'll be honest, Dora's not the strongest I've seen it. Honorable mention to Gasoline, because I actually think that's incredible. That's really good. I think that's in the wrong national final. I feel like that should be in a Nordic one. It doesn't feel right in Croatia. But I was like, okay, that one's decent, but it probably wouldn't beat Let Free. And then it came onto the final song because it was in alphabetical order, and then it came to Baby Lasagna, which I forgot about because it was a replacement. I just assumed they played it earlier. And I was like, oh yeah, the replacement songs come in, and then it started playing. I was like, I love and hate this at the same time, and then it turned to love. This is brilliant. This is utterly brilliant. And people will probably be asking me, Harry, why do you hate Let Free and love Baby Lasagna? Here's the difference. Baby Lasagna is pure fun. Let
Yes.
Free has political elements, which you can like or not. I'm not a massive
Mhm.
fan of political element that much political elements in songs.
Mm.
Baby Lasagna is just pure fun, and
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
it's
a
a
good
message that you
vibe.
can clearly understand the message as well of Baby Lasagna. It's moving away,
Mhm.
exploring a new life. The lyrics are at times comedic, but what I find it fascinating about Baby Lasagna, and I'm sure we will talk, and I hope to talk about this more if it wins, Dora. But what I think about this entry is it stands out. There will be nothing. There's
Without
nothing
a
like this in
doubt.
Dora. There will be nothing like this in Eurovision if it wins. But
Mhm.
there's familiar elements to the structure. The chorus has got that anthemic rock vibe to it still.
Yeah,
It's got the electronic beat. It's got some guitar. It's familiar in the sense that you can gravitate towards stuff
and I think
and
that's
then connect
important in a Eurovision
massively,
song,
massively.
because if it's two out there, it sometimes can be completely
Let free.
forgotten about.
No,
Exactly.
no.
But no, I think with Let Three though, I think like just on that, I think again, I don't know why it got the placing that it did last year, but I think they had their moment last year, and I respect that, and I'm glad that they had that experience. But I don't think there's any need for them to be there again this
So,
year.
would you say your prediction to win is Baby Lasagna?
100%. Yeah, I'll be disappointed if he doesn't win.
So, I mean, it's my prediction and it's my prayer at the same time. Like, it's massively favored in the odds. It's got this actually surprised me because Let Free are a popular band in Croatia. They are popular. Baby
100%, yeah.
Baby Lasagna on YouTube over double the views of Let Free.
Yeah,
Over double. Like, it's massively popular. This needs to win. And juries,
it does.
Croatian juries, I'm talking to you now. If you screw this over, I swear to God. Look, assuming the performance
Don't
is
go
good.
That's it. Don't go safe. I think after listening to Baby Lasagna, then listening to the rest of the songs, everything else sounds basic. No offense to any of the other artists.
I will say, if they went with Gasoline, I would not be mad. Just to clarify, if they went with that one, I'm fine with.
Mhm.
It's just I've sort of written it off because I feel like I don't know. It feels like a third place. It feels like it will come third in the national final.
Mhm.
It would have a better chance in like Norway, I'd argue, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I agree.
But this has to win, just for my own sanity of. For the love of God, not Let Free again.
Yeah.
I don't care how biased I'm being with Let Free. People know I hate them. But also, Baby Lasagna will be such a moment. And genuinely, this could be Croatia's best
would.
result in the contest.
I was literally taking the words out of my mouth. If they
Best
go
result
with
in the
this, and again,
They
I would
haven't
love to
come
go to
top 10.
Eurovision
They
in
haven't come.
Croatia.
Oh, massively.
Oh.
I don't think it would win. I don't think juries in Eurovision would like it that much. But
But that chorus, though, he got a chance to hold some notes, and
he does.
you know.
Also, this at Euro Club would be fantastic.
Oh my word!
Yeah,
Getting
yeah.
excited thinking about it.
Look, we are assuming he can sing live and do all that stuff. Like,
Mhm.
hopefully that's the case. But yeah, Croatia haven't come top 10. I don't think since 2006. Even then, I can't remember if they did.
Gosh, yeah.
It's definitely over 15 years ago. That's a guarantee.
Mhm.
This could easily do it.
Yeah,
Do it.
could be the best result ever if they go with this.
So
sure.
that is Baby Lasagna. That's one of our favorites. So my
Mhm.
second favorite of this evening, we are going to the land of Spain. Now, I'm going to warn you now, it is not one of the favorites I'm picking for this. My Spanish favorite is actually Angie with Second Soy.
Mm.
So,
Interesting.
another rock vibe.
I'm seeing a trend here.
Yes.
No,
I enjoy the rock.
Favorites.
Exactly. I'm surprised this is not getting much more talk about it. I think this is fantastic. I think
Mhm.
it's got an anthemic end. It's got some nice pop rock vibes. I love the raspiness in the voice of Angie. A lot of good stuff here. My dark horse pick to win Benidorm Fest, if it wasn't for all the other noise around other songs, would be Angie. Because especially if she pulls this off live, I think this is a fantastic song. Very
Mhm.
easy on the ears. Even as people that aren't rock fans would very much enjoy this. They'd adapt to it. And
Mm.
yeah, I think one of my favorite Benidorm Fest songs, genuinely, of the last 3 years. I thoroughly enjoy this entry. I know it's not the favorite,
Yeah.
and we'll get on to predictions in a sec. But Chris, what are your thoughts on this song? And then
Mhm.
maybe give us your predicted winner after.
Sure. Yeah, I think Angie sounds amazing on the radio edit, and I think this is one of the entries that I heard that I'm confident that it's going to have a really good live performance on the Benidorm Fest stage. Whether it'll win, again, you said there's a lot of noise around some other artists, but they have to pull off a good performance.
That's always a question in Benidorm Fest as well when it
Yeah,
comes to lives.
exactly. So there's some other artists that I would love to win, and some of them do happen to be the favourites, but they're hard songs to sing as well, so they have to be good live. But yeah, this would be something a little bit different for Spain to send, something fresh. So yeah, I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if it won.
I think it'd do well as
So,
well. So
yeah.
that's not. So it's not my pick either. Who do you predict will win Benidorm Fest then? Bear in mind this could be out of date very quickly because Benidorm Fest is
I
soon.
know. I'm going to go with who I want to win, and I think
I know who
should
that
win
is.
Sophia Cole, Here to Stay. Yeah.
She is the odds-on favourite at the moment. Narrowly, I should say. It's not. I'll be honest. I know it's a favourite. I don't get it. It's far. Every year I have a favourite in Spain. There's a fan favourite in Spain which I don't get. First year it was Rigoberta Bandini. Second year it was Vico. This year it's Sophia Cole. I think it's far too basic. I think that she's latching on to the fact that male. No, apologies if you fall directly into this category, but the fact that over the top gay Eurovision fans will enjoy this. It's too niche. I think when it gets on the big stage, it's like, okay, I'm a diva. I'm here to stay. Okay. What else?
Yeah.
what else have we got here?
I think there's a lot more in the verses in the Spanish bit. Is more about maybe storytelling that I don't understand because I don't speak Spanish. But I'm hoping, I feel like it's got a bit more to it than than just what it says. From what I understand, it's kind of like her growth in the music industry and not really getting a voice and stuff. And so now that she's made it to the Benidorm Fest national final, she's there and she's there to stay. But then saying all of that, it can't just have basic staging.
That also needs to translate on stage, that meaning.
Exactly.
I understand Spanish fans will understand that for Benidorm Fest. So let's say hypothetically it does win and goes on to Eurovision. You need to translate that meaning onto there because otherwise it becomes far
100%.
too generic and basic. So my pick to win actually is it's not one that's in the odds at the moment, but I think it's going to shoot up once we see the ranking. It is Maria Pelle with Remitente. I feel like, and now, is this the one I would go with? No, and I explain why. I actually think out of the favourites, St. Pedro is potentially the one that you should go with. But I feel like this could have a similar effect to Blanca Paloma on the Spanish fans. I understand that they might have hesitancy to go with this style of song, especially after last year. But there will be a group of Spanish fans that also don't care. They were like, this is our winner. We're going to send it. She's also very popular, Maria. And while it's not doing great numbers on Spotify, it's not one of the really high. I don't think Blanca was before either. It doesn't matter. If you've got a fantastic staging, a very professional staging, and this is a song packed with meaning.
Blanca Paloma was slick as anything.
And this song is packed with meaning as well. So I don't think it's the most out there pick to go for it. This is a song with meaning, and might it flop at Eurovision if they go similar to Blanca Paloma? Yeah, possibly. But in the moment, will Benidorm Fest fans care? Not necessarily.
No.
That's not what we're looking at here. I do not see Sophia. I don't know why. I don't see Sophia Cole winning. I know she's the odds-on favorite. I don't see it.
Yeah.
I don't see MALMÖ winning either. That's the other fan favorite, which I'm like, it's very bland.
They're kind of in a box, aren't they? MALMÖ and Sophia Cole. I feel like there's a part of me that think it'll be like a St. Pedro surprise winner.
I think
it's just
easily
something
could be
completely different.
Easily could be. He's second in the odds.
It's charming. It's like, it could be. I feel like this is more of a, from what I noticed anyway in the national finals, there are a lot more bops, as it were. So maybe the kind of sincere, charming songs will stand out a bit more.
What St. Pedro would need to do, however, though, his staging can't be just him in a guitar or whatever instrument in the middle. There does need to be stuff around him. I'm not saying you have to have contemporary dancers, but you need to have some visual meanings behind. Or the lighting has to be so good. You know what I mean? So that's where I am with that. So Spain's going to be fascinating. I do not think there's a clear winner in the Spanish lineup at
No,
all.
I can't
It's gonna be
wait. Can't wait for
fascinating
Benidorm
to
Fest.
see that weekend. So, Chris, one song left. What is your final pick for one of your favourites?
My favourite, and this is I've actually left this one to last on purpose. My favourite national final song at the moment is Dreamer by MALMÖ for Vidbeer 2024.
Dream lover, I wanna feel your body. Dream lover, I wanna start a party. Dream lover, I wanna see you.
I was curious about listening to this before when MALMÖ was announced in the lineup, because I loved Under the Ladder back in 2018, but this is just something else to make. Like when it starts, it's so mysterious. It's just a cappella and it's his voice. You have no idea what kind of genre it's going to be, or how impactful it's going to be. And then that beat comes in, and straight away I can just imagine it on the Eurovision stage. And the reason why I've got so much confidence behind it is because MALMÖ's done this before. He knows he knows the whole Eurovision experience. We know he sounds amazing on stage. In that grand final in 2018, didn't sound tired whatsoever, even though he sang first. But besides the point, I just think he's got a whole new look, and I think this is going to be just a MALMÖ rebirth. Like it's just going to be incredible on the stage,
and you can hear, and you can understand the English lyrics as well, which is a benefit compared to Under the Ladder. I love Under the Ladder. I'm not disputing that at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are the only. We'll come on to predicted winner because
Mm-hmm.
we will talk about the other song after this, which could win. But I think we're the only two people in this world that have MALMÖ as our first in Vidbeer. People love it, but like there is another song which is a clear favourite.
Absolutely.
But with this song, this is pure Euro Club filth, and I love it.
I'm eating it up.
This is brilliant. I love it. I think it's fantastic. It really, I think it shows MALMÖ's growth as a person in the last few years as well, this style.
100%.
And you know what's fascinating? So with this song, it's typical Eurobop. But also there's a hint of Ukraine elements in there. That gospel, But
I love it.
I get a hint of Ukraine there. This
or even like MALMÖ's style as well. It's like quite like I said, like it's like vampire vibes.
Very
in one of the
vampire
recent
vibes,
reactions, because it's like you almost get like a little bit of taste of Under the Ladder there as well, and that's what I love about it.
I love it. And MALMÖ's fantastic live. I saw him at London Eurovision Party last year. He can sing, no question there. I think this is fantastic. You know what? I think sometimes with these male bops that are the demographic within the Eurovision fandom can look down on them a bit harshly compared to female bops for various reasons. If this was a female, they'd love it. They'd love it. It's fantastic. I really do. So, with predictions, it's safe to say I think Vidbeer is a two-horse race. It's a fantastic national final, but when it comes to victory, it's a two-horse race between MALMÖ and Aliona and Jerry Hull. Out of those two, I know which one you want to win, but which one do you think will win Vidbeer this year?
It's so neck and neck.
Yeah.
Because I think, given, I'll say this as, I think that Jerry Hiles, Teresa Maria, and Aliona, it's such a powerful song with a powerful message. And I think it's so current for what Ukraine are going through at the moment. But I feel that we've had lots of Ukrainian entries that have been similar to that in the past. And that doesn't mean that it's a bad thing.
No.
I just think that MALMÖ with this song, it's not just I think this is something special basically. So I think this would be something different again for Ukraine to send, just to keep things interesting. But again, if Teresa Maria ended up getting picked, then I think this would also do amazing.
I think personally, I think as much as I prefer Dreamer as a song, I think Teresa Maria is the first this could win moment in Eurovision 2020. I think Teresa Maria staged correctly could win Eurovision 2024. There's a special element to it. I don't know about you, I get London Grammar vibes from this song.
Yeah,
very
lots of
niche
moments where
UK,
like you could hear a pin drop and stuff, and
UK niche artist reference there. I've already asked a couple who would you know London Grammar. They went, nope, great, narrows it down. But that being said, I think Jerry Hall and Aliona
go with
will win.
Aliona. Yeah.
Aliona squared will win, and partly because Aliona is a very well-known artist actually in Ukraine as well. So there's that televote support. And Jerry Ha, how she's the same person that sang "Vegan" back in 2020 is beyond me. Like I would appreciate you might not have seen the national final. Go check that out because
I will.
night
Definitely.
and day, Chris, trust
Gosh.
me. But here's my case for why MALMÖ could win. And it's a similar case to last year. Last year, the favourites among the fandom and probably going into the contest were Jerry Hall and Krut. Both songs very Ukrainian, very much linked to the war. Both good, not disputing that at all. But in the end, the winner was Torchi with Heart of Steel, a song that I don't want to call it generic, but it didn't have the war vibe. It wasn't necessarily blessed with Ukrainian heritage and ethnicity, but it was a solid enough song. And that's what I feel MALMÖ here is. His song is not linking to the war. It's not in your face Ukrainian ethnic. So it could depend on what the Ukrainian public want. If they want, again, they want to shy away from war references, which completely up to them. They might want to.
I'd say it's more of a hopeful song, this song Dreamer, not just for like Ukrainian people, but for like for everyone. And
for everyone,
I
but
think,
it's less tied down to... MALMÖ did not write this song with the idea of linking to the war. Mother and Teresa and Maria, while it's not obvious, there is a link to the war there.
Yeah,
so this
for sure.
It's a fascinating battle about what Ukraine might want. I think with the juries that you know you're splitting hairs with these. One could be very close, but at the end of the day, with the televote, that's the tiebreaker. So I'm fascinated to know. After we say like it's 2-horse race, watch Palapa. Palalala,
You never know, or Yagadi or something,
Yagadi.
But no, I think it's just such another strong year for Vidbir, and it's not even a question of if it'll qualify. Whoever ends up representing the Ukraine, it's going to qualify. So yeah, they keep on. Again, I've said this in my recent video, reaction video, but I just find it fascinating and just like inspirational that they've been through so much, but they still bring the most incredible music. And if anything, it's just made it even better. So yeah, hats off to them.
And then on to my final entry. Now, I could have. There was a couple other rock entries I could have had here, but I've got non-rock just to diversify. And also, I do feel we need an entry from this national final. I am going with UMK for my final one from Finland, and while Cyan Kicks is my second, just want to point that out for rock fans, my winner and one of my favorites is Sara Silipola with the song Paskana. Now, this song is not a ballad. It's not a bop. It is a ballad bop. And the lyrics are so relatable. It talks about mental health if you haven't heard the song. It's so relatable. So to 2020, like also turn off the internet. You're an effing wreck. Like they might have to change that lyric if it does win, but that's a separate issue. I know it's in Finnish, but I don't know the rules specifically. It feels too good. I remember I said this to someone. It feels too good for Eurovision. It feels too good. This feels polished pop, not polished in the sense that it's, generic, but like really thought out, really clear of what they want to project. Her vocals are great. The 80s synth mixed in as well. It all works. It's all fantastic. I absolutely love this. And I know there's another entry coming up tonight at the time of recording. At the moment, this is my winner for UMK. I want it to go to Eurovision. And yeah, what are your thoughts on Sarah's entry and who you think would win UMK this year?
At the moment, again, I'm going to keep it sweet and short for this one, but this is definitely the one that stands out for me. I think that it's just something fresh. I was a little bit worried after last year with Carrier about Finland, whether they'd be able to come back with something as impactful. But this is just a different spin on it, and it's putting something completely different, but just as good out for UMK. I think the staging's going to be incredible, no doubt about that.
God, yeah.
And she could definitely sing. So, yeah, and again, it's something people can relate to. What I found, again, might be not an unpopular opinion, but I find that it's better in Eurovision songs, especially the performances, when the artists have at least a good dialect of what they're singing, so that like, you know, the audience is going to connect to like so you can literally hear what they're singing. I know it sounds proper simple, but there's been a few artists like, well, I'm not going to mention any names, but just the pronunciation of the songs, it's not been like as clear. But for this, it's understandable straight away. So yeah, I agree with you. Well, again, we're going to listen to the whole lineup before long. But
as it stands, do you predict this would win, or do you think something else will?
Yeah, and I've actually forgotten the is it Demons? Is it the other band?
Dancing with the Demons, Cyan Kicks.
Dancing with the Demons. Yeah, there's a lot of hype behind that as well, isn't there? So
yeah, I'm between
those.
Those
Too generic though, because Finland's put out quite a few rock things in the past.
I'm gonna say this now, and I worry about this one because I feel it is a favorite. I don't want Windows 96. I don't want Windows 97, man.
I haven't listened to it. I need to listen to that one.
So,
but
well, the problem is, it feels.
I wasn't ready to be annoyed.
No, well,
I thought it was going to be too gimmicky.
Well, it is, but it also feels like it's very generic. I'm sorry. Look, this could come back to bite me, and it might win. It might win. I find it very generic. I find it chaotic for the sake of chaotic. It feels forced at times, and it feels like, okay, you're setting a precedent if that wins of just send the wackiest song and that will win in UMK with Carry On Windows 9. I feel like they tried this with Blind Channel and Rasmus. They tried to. I know Rasmus is popular, but they tried to just copy the style of the previous year. Didn't really work.
Right.
I know they qualified, but didn't really work. If they do this again, it will not have the same effect. Windows 90, Finland would not come top 2 with this. I'm not saying they would with Sarah, for example, but no.
They might do. You never know.
Yeah, they might do, but I'm confident like No Rules would not. It would do fine with the televote, I'm sure. But no, it wouldn't have the same effect. And I guess you could argue that they would just complain about the if Finland did well with the televote and the bad with the jury, they join Norway in complaining about the televote. I get the system, I guess. No, I don't want that to win. I think Sarah is actually a favorite. She was the first act to so you know how obviously it's day by day. She was the first act to overtake a YouTube views on someone else's track. So she overtook Sex Main from a couple days before as well. So because there was a weekend.
Yeah.
I know New Rules has overtaken Jessie from the day before, but I think Cyan Kicks is still first in views, but obviously they were the first ones out. So it's you've got to sort of varies in length. But I will say there is one other song tonight. Maybe that could win.
Is this the last song tonight?
Last song tonight is the duo. Yeah. I'm no disrespect. I could be completely wrong here. Looking at them, it might be fine. Probably fun. Maybe not a winner. I don't know.
Hey,
maybe I'm wrong there.
Mate, don't judge a book by its front cover. We'll never
see.
know.
We will see. I might love it. And if I'm talking about it for the Finland episode, fair enough. But that is our favourites and some predictions for our national finals. So that will do it for another episode of the Eurovoxx podcast. I hope you all enjoy this one. As I said, we are going to be doing these much more frequently now. The national final season is pretty much up and running. I mean, put it this way, next week we're going to be discussing 3 more entries. We are going to be discussing Slovenia, Luxembourg, and Ireland. So all fascinating countries for varying reasons. Chris, thank you so much for being on the show, making your podcast debut. You've been a fantastic guest. And to those at home,
and thank you for having me, Harry.
No worries at all. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and make the news website your home for Eurovision news. And of course, in my biased opinion, follow us on Spotify and leave us a rating to help us expand the podcast to a wider audience. All that's left for me to say is hope you enjoyed the show and we will see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.